Hello, Internet. Welcome, everyone, to the MongoDB podcast. We have a very special guest today. We have the founder of Better Auth, Bereket. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Nice. So if you haven't heard of Better Auth, it is the best way to use. I don't know if I should say that, but yes, it was very nice to use. Is a better way of using authentication or in your applications, and I had a very great experience with it. So before we get into the actual product, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are where you are today.
So I started like programming and getting into TypeScript, JavaScript space about like 3-4 years ago. I've built like a bunch of projects. I'm originally from a country called Ethiopia, so I've been there. I've been building projects, different projects, and I've dabbled in a lot of open source projects. I try to contribute to open source and also like create my own open source projects beside Better Auth. Then like one day I started like hugely being interested in auth, especially after experiencing a lot of problems in this space. So especially like in the last year, mid 2024, I started exploring this space and got into auth. Explored that for 6-7 months, and brought the Better Auth open source project, and gradually became a company. We joined my Combinator, and then that's basically the story so far.
Nice. So that's like the quick background, I think. Like, how did you get into coding? Like, let's go back to the very beginning. Like what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, so I actually started coding not because I wanted to become a programmer, but because I wanted to solve a very specific problem. So back home, like in Ethiopia, we have Telegram. The social media Telegram is huge. So like everyone has Telegram, everyone uses Telegram. And every small marketplace has a Telegram channel where they post the things that they sell. The problem is like when you want to buy something from these channels, basically Telegram channel is just somewhere that they can post like someone can create a channel, and then they can make a post and they can share it with their subscribers. So at that time, I wanted to buy some item from like it was actually I used to make music, so I wanted to buy a music keyboard. And I know like there are a lot of channels that they do sell like this item, but it was hard to search because Telegram wasn't meant for like e-commerce or anything. It's just like a social media. So anyway, I wanted to be able to search that, and it was hard. And I had like this idea: what if I build some kind of project where you can like scrape all the data from Telegram and let you search and have all these items from all these channels that you can buy. I think I spent like 4-5 months learning JavaScript, and somehow I built it, right? And then it happened. And from like wanting to buy music keyboard to become a musician, I JavaScript like changed my direction and started to skip coding, right?
Wow. So you said 45 minutes of JavaScript learning, and you got this thing working.
No, for 4 months of JavaScript learning, and then
4 or 5 minutes.
No, 4 months.
Oh, 4 months. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
4
No,
months.
yeah.
Okay. I thought, okay. I was going to say that was really impressive then. Okay. But four or 5 months. Okay. And you got it going.
Yeah.
That's still impressive. That's very good. Like, that's really, I hear that a lot from developers of, some people, they go to college for computer science, etc. But some people just fall into it by trying to solve a problem. So many times just, being curious about things. The kind of people that used to, when I was a kid, I would, dating myself now, but I would take apart our VCR because it wouldn't work. So I'd take it apart and like figure out the insides and like make it work, put it back together. So the people that like to tinker on things, I think they're really good at, or they could be really good at programming because it's really just like trying to figure things out and make things work and build things. So
exactly.
Yeah. Nice. Very, very nice background. Inspirational for anybody. anybody can learn to program. Just put your mind to it. You want to solve a problem, just learn the things that you need to learn in order to solve that problem.
Yeah,
And
I think that's the best way to learn programming. Like, I've had some experience before that trying to learn programming, and it was
mhm,
hard because I just didn't have any direction, and
yeah,
it's easily very overwhelming. Right, like you have this whole suite of things to learn,
mhm,
just very overwhelming. So it's better if you have some kind of niche that you want to build that gives you more direction and you know, gives you more
yeah,
idea on how to build, how
yeah,
to
yeah.
make.
And that's the thing. Some people get caught up in just watching tutorial after tutorial, and then they
Yeah,
just you're trying to keep learning things. Well, you actually have to go build something. Go build something. You don't have to know it all. Just start building something, and you figure it out as you go. That's pretty much
exactly.
what all engineers do anyway. You kind of
Yeah,
figure it out as you go.
exactly. Yeah.
Nice. And one of those things that you figured out as you went is this thing called Better Auth. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, I mean, similar story, right? Like, so I was building a different project before this, and I was using, different auth library, and specifically, I wanted to add a specific feature called organization. So basically, a multi-tenant system where you can have, organizations have members. Members will have roles, and you can have like access permission, access
Mhm.
control, and all that. Uh, like there are many third-party services that kind of offer this specific feature, but I couldn't find anything that lets me own my users and at the same time have this feature. So I was using, probably most of you might know a library called Next.js.
Mhm.
So that was like probably the only proper viable solution in TypeScript land at the time. So I was using that, and I tried to find a solution for it. To add this feature, I like there was no like pre-built solution anywhere. So I actually started making a project called Next.org, which was meant to add organization on top of Next.auth.
Mhm.
But I just keep hitting walls after walls because it was never meant to extend. It was the library was never built to be extendable.
Yeah.
So I had this idea of what if we build from scratch a well-built auth framework with a very good docs, with a plugin system, so that whenever you need these features, you just bring a plugin instead of
Uh-huh.
like being required to implement them from scratch. Because I remember at this point, I actually spent about 2 weeks to implement the org feature in the app, and I was like, "This is crazy," because every SaaS application everywhere have this feature. It's not something that uniquely to us, to the
Mhm.
project I was building that back then, or so I spent the time about like 6 months trying to learn the whole like how art properly works from the ground up. Keep like reading RFCs,
Yeah.
different specs and all that, and then I think at the end of September we prod the first version, the first beta version, and
Mhm.
from day one people are very excited about the project and just keep going. And today I feel like we're becoming like the recommended auth framework for TypeScript space at least.
Yeah, it really has blown up quite recently. And again, like I said, my experience with it has been so easy to work with. Well, first of all, the landing page is really nice, very, very,
Thank you.
very sleek and minimal. But let's look at the docs a bit. You talked about some of these things here, but let's go to the installation is very simple. But here are some of the concepts here. You've got API, you have a CLI, cookies, database, hooks, plugins, like rate limiting, so many things built in just here under these core concepts, right? But
Yeah,
then if we go into authentication, like you've got all of these different social sign-ons, which is amazing. You can even add others here. You've got basically every popular database. We're going to look at the MongoDB integration in a little bit.
yeah,
And then, every major stack or backend basically is here as well. But
exactly.
this is the thing here, the plugins. This is what I found to be so amazing is you've got two-factor, anonymous, magic link, OTP, passkey, one tap. You've got these different, you talked about like the admin features, right? Authorization built in. MCP as well, authorization, enterprise, and then you've got these utilities, CAPTCHA, one-time token, all of these different things just built in, even some third-party integrations. I think from what I've worked with other authentication providers as well, I think this is the most fully baked solution that I've ever seen.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, the idea was that, right? Like build some kind of plugin system that will let us extend all these features whenever we need one. Yeah, and I think like I actually spent about like I rewrote the whole library 4 or 5 times before we out just to get like the plugin system right, like because that was the whole reason that the library existed. So and I think it paid off.
Yeah, and then the docs themselves, like very easy to follow docs, like step by step, very clear. Like I said, as I was going through it, it was like super easy to get things up and running. Amazing. Any specific like pieces here that you found, like you started off, you said you talked about the multi-tenant aspect of it and the admin aspect. Anything that was like super hard to implement? Like, what was the hardest thing to implement here?
Everything was hard. I mean, but I think like the first plugins that we brought was like two-factor, like username. Two-factor was kind of hard, especially like to get the API right, because when you think about two-factor, you implement it like implementing this as a plugin is kind of complicated because you have an endpoint, for example, assigning endpoint that would at some point like interject and say like two-factor is required and continue from this, right? But the problem is with our plugin structure, our plugin APIs is that the endpoints that we implement, like assigning endpoint, is independent from the plugin. So the plugin would need to know to say that for the assigning endpoint, hey, at this point you need to like interject and say the user is required for two-factor. And after that, after the user provides the two-factor plugin needs to continue from there and finish up the whole flow. So it was kind of difficult to get the API right without like getting into the same point. So I'll say like this is like one of the complicated ones. We have plugins for OIDC, basically give you a whole OAuth server. Probably it's like one of those things to took a lot of time. We still like said in development mode, but it's something that like, I'm kind of proud of to finally implement. We have SSO plugin. We'll try to have SAML support. So this is also one of like the complicated ones, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean these things are not trivial to implement on your own. And that's so nice to have like a library that does it for you, that you can trust. Obviously these things are still this is open source, right? So this and this is still like in production, it's this, I mean this is still ongoing iterations, right? You're still improving, you're still adding new things. You've got lots of things here that I saw was like new, like you're constantly adding and updating things. So it seems like this project has gone from zero to hero like so quickly, and really has really done well at implementing all of these different concepts.
Yeah, I think also one of the things that I really wanted to get done was support all the frameworks, because there was no library that supports all the frameworks out there. Like, for example, Next.js was very limited to Next.js. I remember like I had some project that I need to convert from Next.js to Svelte kit, and moving the auth piece was impossible because we were using Next.js in that end. So like making a framework agnostic auth was also one of the reasons that I put some time on. And I'm very glad that we got that done.
Yeah. I mean, the support is amazing, like across the board in like all of the major, like I said, backends and frameworks, etc. Let me share my other screen here, and let's take a look at some code. Let's see. It's not the easiest thing to share in this program. Let's share screen, window. Here we go. How about this? Yeah. All right. Let me zoom in a bit. So this is maybe that's too much. This is I started out with just a bare bones Next.js application, and here we're looking at the MongoDB implementation. So we start out with in the lib folder here a MongoDB function that connects to the database and then allows us to, basically it's like a singleton pattern, allows us to connect to the database anywhere within the application. And then we've got a few things exporting here. So we've got get to-do, we're going to do a to-do app, of course. So get to-dos collection, the authentication database. So then we can use that within the application. And this is the authentication part here in the lib folder, auth.ts. So this is where we're pulling in Better Auth, the MongoDB adapter, and then the actual MongoDB database here. So like 26 lines of code here to get authentication basically set up in the app, right?
Yeah. At this point, you have like an alt server. That works, right? Yeah.
And then we've got our simple authentication route handler set up here, like you've probably seen in other implementations. And then I've got a middleware set up here to just protect this to-dos route. So if we go to to-dos, I'm using Better Auth session tokens here for this. And so if we don't have a session token, it's going to reroute to the login. And or if the cookie length is less than 10, we'll reroute there. So really basic stuff here. We'll look at the actions later, but let me just get this up and running and show you what this looks like. Run dev, and oh, you know what? Let's see if it'll let me go back to my browser. I have to reshare, of course. 1 second. And bring that over here. The joys of live streaming and going between share screens. And there we go. Okay. So this is the to-do app with Better Auth. And so let's go ahead and sign in. And let me see, what did I sign up? I think I did me@me.com. And of course, the password is password.
Very secure.
Yes, yes. Let's sign in. Yeah. There we go. Signed in. So we've got welcome back. Got my name here, email. Here's my user ID from the database. And then let's enter a to-do. So to-do 1, description here, and add that to-do. And so we've got our to-do. And we can, of course, finish it, edit it, do all the things. But the cool thing about this is it is specific to this user. So like, I'm not going to be able to see other users' to-dos. I'm not going to be able to edit them or edit or delete them or anything like that, etc. And all of this is brought to you by Better Auth. So able to use those session tokens and make sure that when we write to the database, when we read from the database, that we have authentication, but we also have authorization, which is going through the database itself to make sure that we don't allow users to see other what they shouldn't see, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So let me go back to the code, and one last thing that I wanted to share there is the server actions. So a lot of stuff there is happening in the server actions as well. And that is here. So in the server actions, this is where we're actually creating the to-dos, updating, deleting, and getting the to-dos. But of course, what we're also doing here is we're getting that session again, making sure that we're logged in. And what we can do here within, like, for instance, create to-do is we're going to validate and make sure again that user is okay to read and write to specific data. So using that user's that session.user throughout our database reads and writes to make sure that that user is authenticated. And again, this is on the server, so we're not doing this on the client. This is a server action, so it's very secure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did I do this right? Is there anything that you saw that I shouldn't do?
No, this is fine. This is great. Like for one of the things that we sometimes show with Next.js is like they have now the cache helper, so you can wrap the get session with the cache helper, so it does not be called. If like within one request, it will just only called once.
Nice.
You can do like these kind of optimizations for, but other than that, this looks great.
Nice. Oh, that's a good point. I will look into the cache wrapper. So this was again just my tinkering around with Better Auth. I think I spent like an hour building this app. Of course, I had a little bit of AI help, but I spent about an hour building this, and it was like super easy to build and work with. Yeah. And so I thought it was very, very nice.
Yeah. One thing you can on the middleware. We have a helper function that we provide to get the cookie, so you don't have to like specify the token or get the specific token or whatever. You can import get session cookie or
so then I wouldn't have to do this.
You don't have to do this whole gate thing, and then because I mean, for example, in prod, the cookie name is gonna change. It will have like a secure prefix. So we come and like using the helper function instead of getting it manually. But this was a great hack.
So yeah, this was this was me. Like I said, I didn't look into like every single aspect of it. Just like how do I hack this together? So I had like the basic outline correct, but maybe there was a couple of different things I could do better.
No, this is correct as well. Just like if you need help, like you can just use the helper function if you want. Some people check the actual session here. I recommend actually just checking for the cookie because it's a middleware. It's not like a typical middleware you'd find in other frameworks when it comes to Next.js. It's more of routing logic instead of like an authorization layer. Gotcha. So I recommend like checking the session in each page instead of the middleware, but just checking the cookie like you're doing here is great for just routing to the appropriate path.
So you said checking it in the page.
Checking the session is actually or not on each page is better.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, nice. Well, it worked, and it was easy to set up, and I'll improve on it as well. Amazing. Let's go back to talking. Let's talk a little bit about like, is there or do you want to talk about like the roadmap of Better Auth? Like what's coming in the future? Like what are some things that you're working on?
Yeah, we're actually we'll have like our first year anniversary at the end of September. So September 28th is gonna be like so we have some launches planned for that. So it's a surprise. So just keep waiting for that.
Nice. All right.
So we'll
everybody
have like new launches there. Yeah.
Nice. So just a tease there, I guess. We're not gonna get anything out of you today, but everybody keep your eyes on Better Auth in September. So we'll see some cool things coming out. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Let's go back to like the developer experience with Better Auth. We looked at like there's so many features, so many different ways to build with it, and there's so many people like even me building with AI. And so, what is your approach to making it easy for developers to build with Better Auth along with their AI coding assistants?
Yeah, great question. So that has been like one of our focus recently. So for example, we're working on an MCP server to provide for the users that they can integrate and then give them all the properly indexed docs and everything that they can use with Cursor or any of the IDs that they're using. Also, we already have, for example, LLMs.txt, so they can just provide that for the LLMs, and they should be able to figure out how to use the docs properly. if you see our docs, we have a little button there, maybe that says open in ChatGPT, or it says like you can open the docs specifically in ChatGPT and the other LLMs. If you can share
Yeah.
the screen, maybe
Yeah. Let me grab that. Share screen. No. Wait, did I close that screen? 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. Anyway,
There you
like
go.
all right. If it opens, you can.
I got it. There we go. And then in the docs, under any page here,
Yeah,
yeah,
this
there we
one, for
go.
example, you can opening like GitHub Cloud or even T3 Chat. Uh,
Nice, nice.
so you can open this and then be able to like ask it about some specific thing about that specific doc. But we also have llms.txt that will give you the whole doc information that you can provide to the LLM. And we're working on MCP server that you can install, and we'll launch that very soon. So
Nice.
I think one of the big advantage that I'm seeing with open source auth frameworks is that it's easier to work with a framework that's not like a third party service in these scenarios, especially when it comes to auth, since like it touches a lot of places. So like it's easier to ask an LLM to implement something. For example, if you want to implement two-factor, asking the LLM to implement two-factor from scratch is gonna be hard.
Yeah.
So for it just to import a plugin and add it into sales done, that's much easier. So
Yeah.
like we want to focus on that by providing a bunch of plugins, and also an MCP server to provide the LLM more context on how to use that whenever you ask it like these questions. So that's like where we're seeing this going in the future.
Nice. Very nice. And then I think we talked about this before, but then if you are building your own MCP server, there is even integration here to help you with OAuth within the MCP client as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah. This is
Nice.
so if you're building MCP server, you can just use this and authenticate agents, where like any client, MCP client, you can authenticate them with this. I will handle everything for you, including the whole OAuth flow and everything required for MCP servers.
Nice. Yeah. So just go here and then click open in ChatGPT, Claude, T3, whatever you want, and
Yeah,
then just tell it to build your MCP server, and you're good to go.
exactly.
Amazing. All right. Well, we showed how easy it is. Like it's like nothing to get this up and running, and just we want the audience to go out and try it. So be sure to go to better-auth.com and give it a try. Go over to the GitHub repo as well. Well, my screen's not showing the GitHub repo. Go to the GitHub repo though and start it. That was what I wanted to show. Go to the GitHub repo, start. You have just over 19,000 GitHub stars. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, amazing. But congratulations on that. Like an
Thank you so
amazing
much.
product. I'm looking at 485 different contributors to this. So definitely community driven, open source project here that everybody should just get behind and help build and help improve, right? That's what it's all about.
Exactly. It's all about the community. If you even like saw our why section, it's like as a community you can build a lot of things together. So that's where we started, and that's like where we want to focus.
Amazing.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, any last words? Anything you want to promote, talk about? Anything you want to say to our audience while you have them?
What can I promote? Yeah. Like if you want to try it, we have also Discord community. You can join there, ask questions. Even if you want, like, you can just tag me and I'll probably answer if you tag me on Discord. So go there, ask questions, and we have Reddit community. You can join there as well. So we're active on X. You can also get behind the project there. Yeah. that's what I want to promote, like literally the community.
Yeah, community aspect is, I think, I mean, that's what's driving all of this. There's so many people involved, and it's such a great product to get behind. So yeah, join the communities on Reddit or Discord, and if you have any issues, go there and help out. Just come help.
Exactly.
Amazing. All right. Well, I want to thank you again for coming on. Amazing product. Congratulations. We hope to see what your announcements are in September. Very exciting. And we'll go from there. But thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Yeah. Take care. Bye.